April 1941. Lyon, occupied France. The morning air smells of coal smoke and damp stone. Boots echo down narrow streets that once carried laughter, now measured footsteps and shouted commands. German banners hang stiffly from buildings never meant to hold them. The city breathes carefully, as if too much sound might be punished. Inside a small tailoring shop near the Saône River, a woman bends over a work table. Her name does not matter yet. A single bulb hums above her head. The walls are lined with spools of thread, grays, browns, dull greens, colors chosen by necessity, not beauty. Outside, a truck backfires. She flinches, then steadies her hands. The needle moves again. In, out. Perfectly even. A German officer's jacket lies across her table. It smells faintly of tobacco and metal polish. The fabric is heavy, well-made, designed to last longer than the men who wear it. She presses the seam flat with the heel of her palm, eyes lowered, posture submissive. To anyone watching, she is invisible. Exactly as intended. The occupation authorities trust people like her. Women. Tradespeople. Those who repair rather than command. They believe danger looks like radios and guns. Like men shouting slogans. Like saboteurs in the night. Not like a seamstress who bows her head and asks only for payment in ration coupons. Outside, posters warn of executions for aiding resistance fighters. Inside, the radio sits silent, dismantled weeks ago after a neighbor was taken for listening. Information has become the rarest commodity in France. Messages die at checkpoints. Couriers vanish. Entire resistance cells go quiet overnight. The problem is not courage. It is movement. Paper can be searched. Words can be overheard. Radios can be traced. Every known method of communication has become a liability. And while generals argue about strategy in safe rooms, something simpler is being overlooked. Cloth. Uniforms move freely through checkpoints. So do repaired coats. So do dresses carried by wives, sisters, and mistresses. No one searches a hem. No one counts stitches. No one questions thread. The seamstress finishes the jacket and lifts it slightly, inspecting her work. Along the inside seam, the stitching is neat, almost decorative. Too neat, perhaps. She frowns, then deliberately snags one stitch, roughening the pattern just enough to look ordinary. Ordinary is survival. A knock sounds at the door. Her breath catches for half a second before she answers it. A soldier steps inside, helmet tucked under his arm. He does not look at her face. He never does. He sets another uniform on the table and waits. As she takes the fabric, her fingers brush a place only she will notice later. A line of stitches that means something. Not yet. Not today. But soon. Because while the occupation watches roads and radios, the war has already found a quieter path forward, one that passes through this room, through these hands, through a needle moving calmly while the world above it burns. June 1941. The rules of survival have already changed. The seamstress learns this the way everyone does now, quietly, through absence. A customer who never returns. A shop across the street sealed with wax. A familiar face removed from the streets as if it never existed. Fear doesn't arrive suddenly. It settles. It rearranges daily habits. It teaches people when not to speak. Her shop remains open. That, too, is suspicious, but suspicion requires imagination, and imagination is something the occupiers no longer bother to use on people like her. It begins with a visit after closing hours. A woman stands in the doorway, hat pulled low, gloves still on despite the warmth. She does not introduce herself. She places a folded dress on the table and says only, "The hem is too long." They both know it isn't. The seamstress does not ask questions. She never has. Instead, she turns the dress inside out and studies the stitching. There, near the left seam, a thread breaks pattern. 2 short stitches. 1 long. A pause. Then 3 more. It is crude. Experimental. but it is language. That night, by candlelight, the seamstress practices. She measures stitches with the edge of a ruler. She learns how many can fit into a finger's width without drawing attention. She tests colors, how dark blue disappears under gray wool, how off-white vanishes against lining. She discovers that mistakes are more believable than perfection. Perfection invites scrutiny. Imperfection passes. By autumn, the system is refined. Rail line numbers are encoded through stitch spacing. Unit movements through thread color changes so subtle they look accidental. Dates are hidden in reinforced buttonholes. Names are never written, only directions, quantities, timing. She memorizes everything. Nothing is written down. Every garment that leaves her shop carries two versions of itself. To the wearer, it is warmth, protection, routine. To the resistance, it is intelligence, movement, proof that the world beyond checkpoints still exists. The danger grows slowly, then all at once. A German officer begins inspecting uniforms personally. Another tailor is arrested across town. Someone talked, or guessed, or simply looked wrong. The seamstress hears boots stop outside her door one afternoon and does not move until they pass. Her hands begin to ache. Not from fear, but from repetition. Stitching codes demands precision under pressure. One misplaced thread could reroute a convoy incorrectly. One misread pattern could send men into an ambush that doesn't exist. At night, she dreams of fabric unraveling. She wakes before dawn and begins again. The paradox becomes undeniable. Military intelligence debates encryption machines and radio frequencies while messages sewn by a middle-aged woman cross occupied France unnoticed. Officers trained in strategy fail where domestic labor succeeds, not because it is clever, but because it is ignored. And that ignorance saves lives. In November 1942, a dress passes through 3 checkpoints and reaches a contact near Marseille. The information inside it delays a transport long enough for sabotage to succeed elsewhere. No explosions near the dress. No gunfire. Just absence. A train that never arrives. The seamstress hears about it weeks later from a glance, a nod, a silence held a moment too long. She understands what it means. Her work is no longer theoretical. People are alive because her hands did not shake. And now, if she is caught, the consequences are no longer abstract. Execution notices are posted weekly. Names printed in black ink. Sometimes women. Sometimes tailors. She sharpens her needle anyway. Because stopping would be louder than continuing. Because the quietest defiance is often the hardest to detect, and the hardest to abandon.